All right, I'm Joel with SmallHD, and I'm here with Sam Nuttmann. He is going to help us launch our very first SmallHD shooter profile. Uh, Welcome to the show, Sam. Tell us what you do and why you love doing it.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a camera operator. I specialize in the MoVI. So I'm a local 600 camera operator. So yeah, basically I go out on shoots and primarily for the MoVI, sort of like a Steadicam operator would. So people hire me to come out and do special shots, or maybe they're doing the entire thing on the MoVI. But yeah, that's my specialty. Yeah.
Great. Tell us about your most recent project.
Yeah. In fact, yesterday I just came off a shoot. It was a 4 day shoot for Columbia Outerwear. So we were running around in the woods in Oregon, just shooting this piece about how their clothes work and all the elements. So we were creating rain because surprisingly it wasn't raining in Oregon, which is pretty rare. But yeah, so we were doing that. It was really nice. And then I just came off a feature a couple weeks before that that shot in Los Angeles. It was a 5 week feature, and we were using the MoVI quite a bit. And I was also doing B-cam operating on that.
Very cool. Um, what were some of the milestones that led you to become a kind of like a MoVI specialized camera operator?
Yeah. Well, before the movie, I was doing a lot of just sort of run and gun documentary work, some commercial work, but mostly documentary. And I was partnering with a lot of companies that manufacture goods because I couldn't afford to buy them. A lot of the stuff I was doing was for nonprofits. So I had to find a way to get the gear. So I started making these behind the scenes videos, in exchange for using gear or getting gear, that sort of thing. And so, so I connected with FreeFly, and they were just launching the MoVI. I had worked on a short film with Tab Firshaw, the owner of FreeFly. And so I went in there, and they told me they kind of needed these behind the scenes videos of the product being used, and they had seen the stuff that I'd been doing. So that's what I started doing, is taking the MoVI in prototype form before you could even buy it, going out on shoots, showing DPs how to use it, or shooting with it. And so that's kind of how I got into that whole thing. So I worked for them for about 2 years, and then I split off to just become a full-time shooter.
Very cool. I know you kind of alluded to this next question a little bit in that answer, but if you were speaking to someone that is kind of interested in pursuing a similar career path, what kind of
Mhm.
advice would you give to them?
Yeah, somebody that wants to be a movie operator or a camera operator.
Sure, camera operator, maybe specializing in gimbal operation.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the most important thing if you want to be a camera operator or a movie operator is that you just do it as much as you can. I think that answer is, pretty apparent, is the more experience you have and the better the skill set, the more qualified you'll be to do bigger shoots. I mean, the biggest thing that I do on set, besides operating, is problem solving. There's always something going wrong with something that's beyond your control, and it's always a matter of fixing it. I mean, the bottom line is if you can't get your system to work, they're probably going to use something else. Either they're going to just use a cam on sticks, or the worst case, they bring a Steadicam operator in or somebody else. But the bottom line is they're not going to wait around, for you to fix something if it's going to take a really long time. So you got to be quick on your feet and just know everything that you're working with. So it's not just how to operate the MoVI, but it's how it works, how all of your peripheral devices work, how to power everything, having backup batteries, having just knowledge about every little thing that might go wrong. And you get that experience by just going out and shooting on your own, doing small projects, working with your friends, volunteering for things, just getting as many hours as you can on the system.
Cool. And I know you were able to kind of be on the front wave of the kind of the gimbal era there with FreeFly when they launched their first gimbal rig, NAB 2013, I think it was. Um, you were working for FreeFly, were you not?
Yeah, I started working for FreeFly actually that same time, like right when they were launching it at NAB. I was finishing up my last project as a contractor. So they'd hired me, but I couldn't make it to NAB. So I was actually in Africa when they were in NAB. And I was getting emails from Tab, and he's like, "You need to get on a flight right now. This thing's going crazy. Like, I don't care where you are. Fly back here. Get started." I couldn't do that, of course, but as soon as I got back, it was just a whirlwind. They had no idea that people were going to have that much interest in that product. They thought it would be sort of a niche hobbyist sort of thing. They had high hopes, but kind of kept their expectations low, and it just exploded. It was madness. It was really cool.
So that's 3+ years since that happened. How has FreeFly managed to continue to push that industry and kind of set the bar for gimbal products, in your opinion?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, because a lot of people out there, especially people getting started, are probably looking at other products and understand, like, well, why would I pay more money for the FreeFly MoVI when I can get these other ones cheaper, or this one's got this benefit, blah blah blah. So and those are good questions to ask about any gear that you're going to buy, especially when you don't have a lot of resources. But I can, I've tried all the different ones, and I can say, especially after a couple of years, there's been sort of this shakedown where all the small players have left the market, and it's just left up to a couple guys. And the FreeFly MoVI is still absolutely on top, and I say that with complete sincerity. There are benefits to the other ones, mostly having to do with costs. But it's sort of like when you start working on bigger projects, it becomes less cost driven and more benefits driven. It becomes more about how long can you operate with this thing, for the day, because it weighs a lot of, or it's heavy. Having control possibilities, like being able to use wheels or a professional joystick option, things like that are a big deal that you can only do with the FreeFly MoVI. So the evolution has really just been kind of a refining of this project so that it's adaptable in a professional cinema market. It's one thing when you're out with your buddies shooting your friend's band, but it's another thing when you're on set on a $6 million TV production or a film or something. You have to have the right tools, and the FreeFly MoVI is the only one that provides that.
That's good stuff. That kind of leads into my next question. I've noticed that you've been on a lot of really intense sets and productions, some action films and TV series. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to the physical demand of your typical day as a MoVI operator, and maybe break down the gear that helps you persevere on those really intense productions.
Yeah, sure. No, you're absolutely right. It is physically demanding. When I'm not working, I constantly cross-train to prepare my body just for the physical exertion that it takes to carry this thing around. 25 pounds, 30 pounds, whatever you end up having your rig weigh, doesn't sound like a lot if you were carrying it like a suitcase, but when you're carrying the system out in front of you, it is demanding. So you do have to eat right, exercise, and really stay fit to be able to do this thing properly. So that being said, there's also other devices that can help you carry that load all day. So the Walter Klassen Effects slingshot is the thing that I use quite a bit, and it's sort of a vest that you wear, and it has these arms that come off of it, and the MoVI hangs on there, and it takes a lot of the weight off your arms and puts it onto your back. Of course, that means you have more weight on your back, so there is going to be some discomfort there, but at least it gives you this option to be able to keep shooting for extended periods of time. With the action stuff, like I shot on Into the Badlands Season 1 last summer, and I was on the fight unit. So I was me and two other guys were the camera operators for all the fight scenes. And it was intense, and the stuff happens real fast. And quite honestly, the MoVI, one thing it doesn't do well is whip pans or super rapid movements with precision. It's really difficult to, using the MoVI and the way that it works to land exactly on your frame the way that you can do with, a geared head or a tripod or handheld especially. But we worked around that, and the benefits of the MoVI, having this stabilized mobile head, give it some really cool looks and different options that you couldn't do with those other tools. So we kind of worked around the things it couldn't do and exploited the things that it could, and I think we got really nice results. One shot that comes to mind, we did a stunt where this swordsman warrior is jumping off a second balcony and drops right into a fight. You know, there's guys fighting below, and he drops off the balcony with his swords drawn, goes right into the fight. And so they wanted to do something where the camera follows him into the fight. So we both had descenders and harnesses on, and I just basically ran and jumped off the second story balcony with the guy, filming him all the way down. So there's really no way you could have done that easily without something like the MoVI.
Awesome. And we'll try to include a lot of this behind the scenes stuff that I know
Cool.
you've shared with this interview. Now you've had the 502 on-camera monitor from SmallHD for a little while yet.
Yeah.
I'm interested. You know, we've packed a lot of processing power and features into this little 5-inch monitor body, and I'm wondering, you know, is the fact that the 502 is a rather light monitor that can still do things like cross conversion, you know, it's 1080p, you know, does that make a difference for you?
Yeah, absolutely. The 502, before that monitor, there weren't a lot of great options. As all things were in the MoVI ecosystem, things weren't exactly right for this gimbal system. But as time's gone on, products like the 502 have come out that make our lives so much easier. So yeah, the 502, especially with the Alexa Mini, that doesn't have a dedicated monitor, I use the 502 every day on set. So, excuse me. So yeah, the fact that it's lightweight is a huge deal. The fact that it doesn't take a lot of power to run, you know, you can power it off a LPE6 like a 5D battery, is huge. It doesn't draw a lot of power. It's a bright monitor, so even in bright daylight, I can still get a pretty good visual off of it. And having that conversion so that I can plug SDI in and out is huge. Some of the tools that I use normally are like I use waveforms pretty much all day long. A lot of times, you know, the DP will be looking at their monitor with a LUT on it. They may not be looking at waveforms or vector scopes, so they're kind of getting, you know, an overall estimate of what the image looks like, but that's not exactly, you know, what's passing through the camera. So the waveform is a real you know, data-driven way of looking at what information is passing over the sensor. So by me keeping that on my monitor at all times, I can sort of go back to the DP and say, hey, look, I'm seeing we're losing some highlights here or there, or this is really crushed into the shadows. Do you want to look at it again? And then he can go back and double check it. So it's a real nice litmus test for me to quickly look at what the actual sensor is seeing on the monitor quickly and easily. And you know, when we do a rehearsal, I can see how that changes all the way through the shot and then adjust accordingly. So that's kind of one of the biggest tools I use is the waveforms. And now that vector scopes are added, I'll be using that quite a bit as well. The other thing I was going to mention, that a tool that we use a lot now is putting LUTs on there, or looks. You know, that's on set where the DP will have all these different looks for, you know, exterior rain or interior nighttime, interior daytime, and they'll have all these different looks that they've made ahead of time. They can put all of those onto an SD card, hand that over to me, and I can load them up onto all my monitors. I have other SmallHD monitors, and then I can toggle between looking at a log picture and the looks picture to really get a full, you know, look at what we're actually capturing.
Very cool. Yeah, and I know Wes and Dale have put a lot of mind power and effort into creating the most robust 3D lookup table platform in the 500 and the 700 series. So it's good to hear that someone's putting it to use. You know, lastly, and we'll wrap it up here, it seems like you have the privilege to work with some amazing people. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about the importance of collaboration and how it's impacting life for you as a cinematographer.
Oh yeah, sure. Collaboration is, you know, hopefully every time you're on a shoot, you and your director of photography and your director have some sort of rapport, and you listen to each other to get the best shots. Because at the end of the day, it's not about who's the boss and who has the most experience. It's just about which idea works best for telling the story. So the idea of collaboration is, your director might have experience on a particular type of shooting. Your DP has the same sort of particular type of experience, and I have a particular type of experience. And so if we all sort of pool the ideas together, like we have a fight scene, and maybe the director's never done a fight scene, but I have done a bunch of fighting, then I can recommend, like, all right, I'm looking at your storyboards. This is what you had in mind at first, but we did a shot like this. Would you consider moving the camera like this or that? And then, they may or may not go for it. But having that comfort and that rapport with those guys to feel comfortable making suggestions, and knowing that if they say no, that it's nothing personal. It's just that's not right for what they're trying to do. That's really important. It's really again about getting the best shot for the story. And as long as everybody has that in mind and everyone's looking for the best idea to tell the story, then the best results are gonna come out. So yeah, I mean, most of the DPs I work with, especially regularly, we're friends outside of work, and we're really comfortable talking about how we can accomplish this goal on set with the tools that we have available.
Cool. Where can someone go to kind of keep up with your adventures? Are you on social media?
Yeah, motionstate.com is our company website. So myself and two other partners, Ryan Haug and Corey Kaniniak, all of our work is up there. We have a Facebook page, of course, and an Instagram page. And then I have personal stuff as well, like samvisuals.com is my website. So yeah, you can find all of our stuff there.
Okay, and I'll link those in the blog post as well. And Sam, what's the next big thing on your shoot list?
Yeah, well, I think I have a feature coming up in June. I don't know too much about it yet, which is pretty typical. You don't know until like the day before. But I think I'll be working on a feature again this summer. And yeah, I've got a few commercials coming up in the next couple weeks. And yeah, you never know. Honestly, like you think you know what you're doing the next week, and you think you're shooting in town, and before you know it, you're across the world doing something else. So only time will tell. But yeah, check on our website, and we'll keep everybody updated.
Okay. Best of luck to you, Sam. Thanks for allowing us to go behind the screens with us. And I think that was a great first SmallHD shooter profile. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for having me.